All right, guys, welcome back to Weekend Smile. He's a Jamaican who attended Mona Prep and Campion College and began working at Disney in 1990. He's worked on numerous animated movies, including the Oscar-winning Encanto and The Princess of the Frog and many others. Zooming in from California is production designer at Disney, Ian Gooding. Welcome to Weekend Smile, Ian. It is our pleasure to have you. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. It's very awesome to hear that you are Jamaican roots. And let's talk about how you started in animation. What brought you there?
Well, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I used to get in trouble in school for drawing in my textbooks and stuff, and it's always been something that I could do. So kids always want to do the thing that they're good at, so that they get attention. And so I was always doing that, and I had to make all the banners for sports day for the different houses and so on. People would always come to me for artwork, so it kind of made me be somebody. So I decided that, oh yeah, there I am. I decided that I was gonna, yeah, that's the pool that I never got to put my foot in because I built it just when we went into sixth form, and sixth formers don't have PE.
Oh
Anyway, bad
my.
time. Yeah. So I thought, this is a job is something I'm going to have to wake up every day and drag myself into. So it has to be something that I enjoy. Otherwise, I'm not going to have a really good time with this. And so I decided I would try something in art. And when I was a kid, I went to Disney World, and that made a massive impression on me. And the other thing that was sort of like the big catalyst was when I saw Star Wars. I thought, oh, I have to be a part of this. I have to do something to do with this. So I went to CalArts in order to get a career in visual effects, because a lot of the people who did Star Wars, the original one, some of the animation and so on, the visual effects had been to CalArts. So I thought, let's try that. My brother was at Stanford at the time, also in California, and he did the research for me because, of course, there was no such thing as an internet. So everything was very difficult to pry into and find out about. So I enrolled at CalArts, and also another good thing, they didn't need like a whole bunch of like credits and stuff like that, because people didn't know what to do with my Jamaican school records, right? So CalArts just wanted to see portfolios. So there I was in California, and after a year in the motion graphics department, I thought the people doing cartoons are much happier and more fun, and I was hanging out with them more. So I ended up moving departments to do character animation, and then as a result of that, my student film got seen by an effects head at Disney, and I ended up getting hired to do effects animation on Prince and the Pauper in 1990, and then later switched departments to visual development, and then eventually became an art director and then a production designer.
That's amazing. That is such an incredible story. I mean, you started working at Disney, and you worked on so many animated pieces. But which would you say was the most challenging for you?
The most challenging definitely was Encanto. The most fun was probably Moana.
So
Uh, it,
why was Encanto most difficult? Because why? I mean, it's loved by so many people.
well, no, it's and I think I'm probably the most proud of it. So of all of them, but things that are going to be really high quality are not necessarily easy to accomplish. Um, and yeah, it was just tough trying to understand the needs of the story and that sort of thing, and it kept changing a lot. They all do. It's not unique. We keep changing stories right up to the end at Disney, and the reason for that is that we want to get the best story out there that we can. So they keep improving it and improving it and improving it. But I don't know. For whatever reason, it was harder for me to get a lock on it. I mean, I still feel like I contributed, and I had an amazing team that I'm in charge of artists who did a lot of the design work. Obviously, one person. There's no way one person could do all of this. You look around you at all the costumes and the crowds and the stones on the street and the trees in the background and the mountains and the wind blowing by and the rain. I mean, everything. There's so many people involved in doing these things, and it was an incredibly talented crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was harder to get a lock on than other projects, and also, I mean, it was uh, it was done during the pandemic, and that's a big factor, right? We're all at home, and we're trying to understand what people are thinking based on looking at a crappy picture on a monitor, and that's now the challenge. And you get isolated, and it's depressing, and so I mean, I'm guessing most of it had nothing to do with Encanto at all. It was just it was a challenging show. I also lost my mom when I was working on Encanto,
Oh,
and
wow.
that.
Or condolences.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's in Jamaica. That's where she was at the time. So yeah, I don't know. It's a number of things.
Yeah.
Another movie I worked on, Treasure Planet, was very difficult for other reasons as well. That didn't have anything to do with the movie itself. Just the current what was happening at the studio at the time, and switching over to computer animated stuff, and
Yeah.
lots of people losing their careers and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of
Wow.
emotional strings attached to working on because you're on a project like Encanto. I was on for like 4 years, right? And Treasure Planet I was on for 5.25 years. So it's a major investment in time, and it's hard to be a cheerleader for that long.
Yeah, and
And
we're
every
very, I must tell you, Ian, that this movie, though, has brought so much joy to so many people. And when you're able to make a product that is, of good appeal to both adults and children, more so the children and then the adults afterwards, because by the time you're here, we don't talk about Bruno 16,000 times. I mean, you end up singing it as well. So it really has become a source of happiness and joy for a lot of people. And again, our condolences, because I can, only understand what that must have been like, having to work through that, that time as well, having lost your mom as well, and everything that was happening on set. But I want to ask you, though, about how you start working from a script. And do you then make the characters move and fit into the voiceovers from the actors? Like, how does it all work together? Like, do you give us an insight into how you make it all gel?
So I'm not in charge of the animation at all. I mean, I give opinions occasionally when, like on Encanto, they had a character looking at the back of an old-fashioned camera as if there were a viewfinder, and there wasn't, because those cameras didn't have viewfinders. So, I would send them an email and say, hey, have him do something else more like this, and they'd send a picture of, somebody from like 1900 taking a picture with a camera, one of those cameras. So that's about the limit of my involvement in animation. And also, like on Moana, I was one of the only people who knew about sailing. So that, I would talk to the animators a fair amount about the sailing aspect of things. But so when a movie starts, there is no script. For example, I'm working on the Moana sequel right now. And it will be coming out on Disney Plus. I'm not exactly sure when, but it has been announced, so I'm allowed to talk about it a little. And when you start, you have a vague idea about what the directors are thinking might happen in the movie, but you don't really know. So you sort of start painting stuff, and that seems like it might be of use to them, because they have to like get people excited. They have to like go to the composer and say, hey, would you like to work on this movie? Look at these cool pictures. So there is this function of these very early developmental pieces of artwork that sort of help people to get excited about the movie, even if they don't even if they're not attached to specific things in the story. So these are like island designs that I did for Moana that, of course, didn't get used, but they were helpful.
They're lovely. They're lovely.
Oh,
Ian, I don't know if you know about Kingston, the Kingston Animation Festival that we do have here in Jamaica, showcasing the work of animators across the island who really do excellent work, and they would love, of course, for a platform. Disney has been a part of the Kingston Festival before, but for those who are interested in this industry, in the animation industry, we know it's a booming one, it's a viable one as well. What advice would you give to them?
What advice for animation? I don't know, find out what your passion is and try and become as good at that as you possibly can. Because, like I was saying for myself, having a job, it's something you go to every day for your whole life. So make sure it's something that you really, really love if you possibly can. And, now we have this amazing resource, the internet, where you can go online and you can look at artists. Most of the artists at Disney, for example, have their own blogs that you can go to and see their artwork, and you can sort of get a good understanding of what kind of art is expected from people who are applying to studios like Disney or DreamWorks or any of the others, and make sure that you're sort of at a comparable level. And like I said, that's pretty easy to do now. Just look at artists. Doesn't have to be Disney artists. It can be, impressionist painters, or it can be anybody. It can be Picasso, whoever. Just get inspired. Look at the world around you. It's a really beautiful world, and see what you have to bring to that beauty, like through your eyes. What can you do that shows us who you are and what your strengths are, and then shop your work around.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Mr. Ian Gooding. I think we're going to be talking about Bruno for some time to come, if you don't mind, but we can't help it. Yeah, we can't help it. Encanto is really lovely. Congratulations to you and the team. And it's so good to hear that we have a Jamaican whose hand was a part of creating something so spectacular. So thanks again, Ian Gooding, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys, and that is it, our interview right there with Mr. Ian Gooding, animator, Jamaican. It's time for a break. We'll soon come back. Stay with us right here on Weekend Smile.